Okay, so welcome back. This should be, I'm thinking, part 3 of. That was terrifying. Oh, okay, so I'm reading now. I can't believe how quickly those thugs set upon us. The class heads ran off, people were shouting orders. Oh, but it was a right mess. Say, who are you anyway? I don't remember. Hey, you're one of the surviving brigands, aren't you? Anyone help. Okay, yeah, this is part 3 of Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. And in the previous part, base camp. Oh, I guess I'm about to do a tutorial. Yes.
If I'm honest,
The 3 young people you assisted earlier are the heads of the Academy's 3 houses, but you'll find other students, teachers, and even members of the Knights of Ceros here at this camp. Well, excuse me. I fear you caught us in the middle of an annual outdoor activity carried out at the beginning of the Academy school year.
that's concerning.
But the situation became quite the mess when that band of brigands attacked us. I wish we could chat at length, but it seems the 3 class heads wish to speak with you. Alas, I cannot keep you all to myself. This is a great opportunity for you to bond with your rescuees. Now, as I was saying, in the previous part we rescued my three rescuees, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. So let's see, I guess a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, my run speed's a lot slower. Okay, if you happen to know I guess like a fan blowing, that's because here in Chicago it's like 90 something degrees. It's really hot, so I just have a fan going, and I'll try to do my best to cut it out. So these guys are all part of the Blue Lions. For those of you who don't know about Fire Emblem 3 Houses, in that game you play as a different character, as a mercenary who becomes a professor at this monastery, and all of these characters that you see here, these are all, either your colleague professors or your students, and depending on which of the 3 houses you choose to teach and be the professor for, you'll get a separate set of students. So like all of these students that you see in yellow, these are all in one house. All of these students that you see in red with the little red icon are under a different house. Everybody that you see is white, those are like your teachers. And then all of these blue characters here are in another house as well, and those make up the 3 houses. You're also able to recruit, or I guess poach. I guess technically you're able to poach students out of other houses, but there's no penalty or anything to the story. And the game has two phases that take place during the game. One takes place during the first half, another takes place during the latter half. The first half is called the Academy phase, which is where everybody looks like this, and you're acting as the professor. And the latter half is called the War phase, where there's like a 5-year time skip. Every person that you see here is going to grow up by 5 years. They're going to look different, and you're no longer operating as a professor, but instead as like a general of whatever respective army that you'll now take command of. So I guess that is all that you need to know. I think for this game, in 3 houses, there are different paths that you can take, depending on which house you choose to lead. It's like, let me think. It's like Team A will give you ending A, Team B will give you ending B, Team C will give you either ending C or ending D, depending on whether you did certain things in the Team C playthrough. If you did do those certain things, you get the choice of the C or the D ending. But if you didn't do those things, then you're locked into, let's just call it the D ending. Okay? And you'd have to play the game multiple times on different pathways to uncover everything. What this game is doing here is this game is doing something different by, I guess, altering a few key events that take place during the earlier half of the game. All right, now I think I've gone and explained about as much of it as I'm willing to. For the rest of it, you have to probably just play the game for yourself. But I'm supposed to talk to these house leaders, so this is one of them.
Thank you.
Oh, and I guess I'm narrating. Ah, there you are. Thank you for your assistance in the previous battle. I'd like to discuss your future if you have a moment. If you find yourself with no place to go after we accomplish our objective, I'm hoping we might hire you on with the Empire.
What do you think?
I can promise you'll be handsomely paid, including the work you did today. So, what say you? Ask why she wants to hire me. I'm not usually hired into service by people quite so high up the food chain. Why the special attention? And Adocard says, I value your talent now that I've had the ability to see it firsthand. Support points. Support points signify the strength of a bond between two units. Units gain support points by giving appropriate answers in conversation, performing actions that make the other happy, or heading into battle together.
On another matter.
By the by, have you spoken with the others here in camp? If you'd like, I can tell you a bit about the students in my own house, the Black Eagles. You know what? What I'll do here is, I know all about these students, but for those who don't, I will fly by every wall of text, and you'll just...
You're certainly not timid. You do realize you're addressing the heir to the Imperial throne, yes?
Huh, I wonder how I'm gonna do this. Maybe I'll just, if she's gonna talk through everything, maybe I'll just leave it out. But if she's not, I'll leave it in and just blow through it and you guys can pause it.
Still, I suppose I admire that sort of freedom. It must be nice not to have your lot in life decided for you.
Okay, cool. So this is alright, so that's one, and then I'll go to somebody else.
Hubert of House Vestra is my attendant.
She's gonna talk through
His
it.
family is unusual in that they're noble but lack territory of their own. Hubert is deeply loyal to me, and you can trust him completely. In fact, I imagine he's quite grateful for what you've already done. That's Dorothea Arnault. She's an up-and-coming songstress in a famous Imperial opera company, or she was, at least. For some reason, she abandoned her musical career and enrolled in the Officers' Academy. She has a very magnetic personality, which I'm sure you'll see.
Okay.
Have you spoken with Ferdinand? One conversation will explain him far better than I can. He's the heir to an influential house, which drives him to excel. But he can be quite the handful sometimes.
Now here's the thing with this with the Ferdinand character. At the time of this recording, this guy's voice actor passed away. Due to, I think, colon cancer. Yeah, and I'm wondering if this might have been one of his last works.
One of our classmates usually stays holed up in the dormitory instead of coming on these assignments. Her name is Bernadetta. If you bump into her, don't be surprised if she screams and runs away. That's sort of her thing.
People like Bernadetta.
Caspar is the second-born son of a great and noble house. But as he's not the heir, you might say he joined the academy to make his own way. War and fighting are his sole pursuits, so I bet the two of you will get along just fine.
Okay, what else we got? Petra and Linhart.
Petra isn't from the Empire. She's the granddaughter of the King of Brigid, which is an archipelago situated off our western coast. You'll find her a quick study, a gifted fighter, and endlessly curious. But always come prepared to talk, because she'll definitely want to pick your brain.
Okay.
Surely you know someone like Linhart. He's as bright as they come, yet just as lazy as well. That's simply how he is, though. I can't force him to apply himself, but he'll come around, most likely.
Okay. So, that's everybody in the Black Eagle house. And then I guess I'd also have to talk to everybody here. Maybe I won't show that on camera. And I think I'll just put timestamps. Oh, here we go. Here's the run button. Yeah, I think I'll just put timestamps in. So you can skip through all of these introductions.
You have my thanks.
Let me begin by first conveying my gratitude to you, Shez. We are in your debt.
Speaking of which...
Also, I examined the map earlier, and the village where you are headed seems to be a little more to the east. Thank him for the advice.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. I checked the map earlier but couldn't tell where in the woods I actually was. Well, I'm glad I could be of service. I hope you're able to reach your destination this time.
By the way,
You'll be staying until sunrise, yes? I hope you'll take the opportunity to converse with the others here. Of course, now that I've sprung the idea on you so suddenly, you'll likely find yourself at a loss as to whom you ought to speak
how
to.
about this?
On that note, I would be more than happy to give you an introduction to any Blue Lion House students. And I guess we're gonna roll through the Blue Lions as well. So I'll put a timestamp in the
Your interest flatters me.
description.
But I'm afraid I find myself unsure of where to begin. Perhaps I'll have thought of a topic when next we speak. But you're leaving for that village soon, aren't you?
Okay.
Dedu hails from the land of Dusker. Perhaps you've heard of it. He tends to keep to himself. But he possesses one of the kindest hearts of anyone I know. I'm proud to call him my vassal. Speak to him, and you'll see why.
Proud to call him my friend, is that what you were probably gonna say?
Felix is the son of Duke Fraldarius. He has a sharp wit and even sharper tongue. But he's a good person at his core. I can attest to that. He has always admired strength above all else in a fighter. I imagine the two of you will make fast friends.
Huh.
I only first met her here at the academy. She seems a gentle soul with great inner strength. From what I understand, she has traveled far and wide throughout both the Empire and the Kingdom. Perhaps that explains her demeanor.
So yeah, that's Mercedes. She's a favorite of
In
mine.
the far south of Fargus lies a manor by the name of Castle Gaspar. Ash is the adopted son of that castle's lord, Lenovo. He's an honest boy, well deserving of our trust. I'd like to get to know him better someday, should the opportunity arise.
I think Ash is my favorite male character in the game.
Annette is the hardest worker in the entirety of the Blue Lion House. She is truly brilliant. I could stand to learn from her single-minded devotion, if only a little.
Okay.
Sylvain is the son of Margrave Gautier. You may have already noticed, but he's something of a womanizer. That may be putting it lightly, in fact. But despite his apparent indifference, he possesses great cunning and is quicker on his feet than anyone else here. I've known him long, so I'm well aware. Ingrid is the daughter of Count Galatea, and she is far more gallant than your run-of-the-mill knight.
Oh, Galatea, not Galatea. Okay.
She has ever been straight-laced and diligent, even when we were but children. It is not an uncommon sight to find her scolding Sylvain for his indiscretions.
Okay, so I guess that's everybody in the Blue Lions house. And then last is this house. This is the team. This is the house I'm going to be joining.
Thanks.
Hey friend, appreciate what you did back there. We'd have been in a world of hurt without you. Oh, and regarding compensation, Alois told me not to pay you personally. I guess they want to handle it as a church thing? I'm sorry about that. Hey, as long as I get paid, I don't care who's handing over the coin. Ha, you're definitely a mercenary, alright.
Speaking of,
Speaking of which, have you talked with the others here at camp?
how's that?
I can tell you a little about the students in my Golden Deer house. So, I'm gonna run through this.
Who, me? I'm more curious about you, personally. If you don't have anything better to do, I'd be glad to have you join us at Garrett Mach. Have you met him yet? At first, I thought he was real serious and persnickety. But that image shattered pretty quick once I noticed him chatting up every girl in the monastery. Hilda's the only daughter of Duke Goneril. Seems like she had a pretty cushy life growing up. Which means she's gotten into the habit of slacking off and making other people do things for her.
Hilda's also a favorite.
He's a pretty friendly guy. Though it'd be nice if he talked about something other than muscles. He comes from a merchant family, but his parents died in an accident. He's had it pretty rough.
Not a big fan of Raphael.
Don't ever treat her like a child. I made that mistake earlier and she nearly took my head off. But she's clearly the youngest out of this year's students, so I don't get what the big deal is. Just another pampered noble, I guess.
Lysithia's a favorite.
Ignatz likes the great outdoors. Definitely more than the rest of us, anyway. He's the second son of a merchant family, but says he wants to be a knight. He doesn't really seem suited for it, though. Maybe his parents are making him do it. Oh, Marianne? She's Margrave Edmund's daughter, but that's all I know about her.
Marianne.
She doesn't interact with the other students at all. I'll admit, she intrigues me.
Yeah, Marianne's great.
Leonie wants to be a mercenary. I bet you two would have lots to talk about. You're both pretty frank, too. I just hope you're not as obsessed with saving money as she is.
Okay. So that's everybody. Looks like Dawn's almost here. Okay, so that's everybody, and I guess I'll just talk to everybody else on my own time, and I'll skip to when I'm talking to Alois. Okay. Shiz, have you spoken with the house leaders yet? What? You're leaving? But that won't do.
If I'm honest.
Actually, I was hoping I could... Oh, it's outside. I was hoping I could ask something of you. Would you hear me out? Sure. Why not?
My sincere apologies for asking this of you. I know you're heading for Ramire Village in order to find Gerald's mercenaries, but... well, perhaps you might consider changing your mind and accompanying us to Garrigmach Monastery instead.
And why would I do that exactly?
Because you've done us a great service and we don't have the means in camp to properly reward you. At the monastery, however, we can repay your kindness in full. Also, between you and me, this evening's turn of events was quite the embarrassment for the church. We allowed students of the Officers' Academy out of our sight, and house leaders of great political consequence at that. And then they crossed swords with bandits. If word got out, well, let's just say it would sit poorly with everyone.
Yeah, you guys messed up.
So you see why we must ensure you are well compensated. Also, there may be some papers for you to sign, perhaps in blood.
What?
This sounds more like hush money than a reward.
Yes, that's exactly what I told the fool knight who suggested it. Me, I'd just as soon send you on your way, but I fear I'm obligated to escort you back. Anyway, the whole thing will be much easier if you simply agree to come along. Just as a formality, of course.
I think that was a threat. And here I thought he was a big softy.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, what do you think? Garrigmach is in the opposite direction of where we need to be, but this man seems rather set on having us accompany them.
I'm wondering if these choices actually matter.
I guess I'm not opposed to helping out a little more. I'll come with you to the monastery, but I'm not staying a single minute longer than I have to.
Bless you, my friend. What a noble soul you are. I'd say you saved my bacon, but that would be utterly hammy.
Stop.
Alois, has anyone ever told you that you're...
Don't. Some truths are simply too painful to bear. While I'm no expert, I fear the poor man's heart couldn't handle the shock.
Told me what?
Told you how dashing you are in that armor. Not just any man can pull off that look.
Ah, you like it? Wonderful. I admit I've received no small share of positive comments on it. There's a grand story behind every last ding and dent. Enough to keep me talking for a week. Why, take this one here.
We heard you'll be joining us at Garrigmach. Perhaps somewhat unwillingly, I might add.
You guys are nosy. All three of you at once.
I know this wasn't in your plans, but if it lets us get to know each other better, perhaps it will prove worth it in the end.
Unwilling or not, we've got a long road ahead, so let's try to keep the mood light.
I hesitate to ask this considering you're only here because of us. But, well, are you sure about this decision? The last thing we want is to delay you from your own business.
Quiet.
The knights may seem unwilling to bend, but it's not as if you have no say in the matter.
Ah, bruh. Do these choices matter?
Actually, I see this as just another chance to better myself.
I need to get paid.
You are more gracious than I. But as I see you've made peace with it, I will leave the matter be.
Yes, that's quite enough chatter. Let's save our energy for the road. To the monastery!
Listen, I know this one's on me. I'm the one who roped you into coming back to camp after all. But I'll find a way to make it up to you, I promise.
Keep your hopes grounded. I don't know, man. Should I just be nice to everybody, or should I, get a little realist? Keep your hopes grounded. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it.
A skeptic, huh? You know, I may look like a scoundrel, but I happen to be a man of my...
Hey! Hurry up back there, or we'll leave you behind!
You know you've had a busy day when you rub shoulders with the heirs to the Empire, the Kingdom, and the Alliance. I think they're a fascinating group of people myself, but what do you make of them?
I gotta give a little bit of attitude every now and then. Let's reflect on Claude.
Claude's a laid-back kind of guy who doesn't really strike me as noble, and I mean that in a good way. Something tells me he's gonna be easy to work with.
Wow.
Seems like Edelgard thinks high enough of me. She's got this elegant air about her, but somehow doesn't hold any disdain for mercenaries. It feels like Dimitri's always checking in on me every chance he gets. He'll definitely make a good king. The kind who looks after his people.
He's got this noodle hair.
Of course you only pick up on their rosy qualities. You really are a delight. Have I told you that lately? Still, you'd better pick up the pace before you vex these people any further.
Is that... I don't even know if that's a full part.